morning and welcome to FF Design Studio 66. My name's Fiona and today we're going to be making a little mini journal. We won't be doing any decorating on this in particular journal. This is really just a process video so you can see what I've done. So we have our cover and we have our pages. And I'm going to show you how to do this lot first. So with the cover, it measures, just let me check my work. So it measures 6 1/8 inch long and 3 3/4 inches in height. And you're going to score it at 2 3/4 and then 3 3/8, and that'll give you your spine. So that is essentially what I've got here. Okay, and all I did with that after I've got it to that stage was I grabbed some decorative paper. I happen to have this mushroom one. Let's see if I can find it. I'll just take it out of the packet because it could be a little glary. This was just one lot that I got from Temu, and it's called Mushroom Fairies, and it's just a 6x6 paper pad. Well, not a pad, but 6x6 papers. And in this project, I used nearly all of them. Yeah, I made one earlier and I buggered it up. So it's, I didn't get these close enough and they weren't straight enough, so they're not opening up properly and they're buckling. So, but that's okay. And because I used this paper and the cardstock that I had, made it too thick, so I had to then adjust the cover. So I've gone and done this a different way now. So what I've done is I then cut out the decorative papers to fit on the front. Now the measurements for the decorative papers are 2 1/2 inches by 3 1/2 inches, and you'll need 2 of those. And then you'll need a 3 3/4 length 1 by 1 1/2 inches for the spine. And this is what you'll get with that. Okay. The next thing we need to do is create our little pages. So these pages were, for this in particular journal, I've just used that cardstock, which is this one here, and I've created the pocket out of that because this one's a lot more lightweight. I think it's about 160 GSM, I want to say, 160 GSM heavyweight cardstock. I wouldn't say it's really heavyweight, but it's cardstock. It's not just paper. And that made it heavy enough to fit into this in particular thing. Anyway, so let's work on the pocket. So these are actually a pocket. The original one that I made, I had tabs on it, and we can still put tabs on this. I had 4 that were tabbed and 4 that had notches in them. So what we're going to need is we're going to need a piece of, show you the paper that I've used for this base, depending on which way you do it. So for the craft stock on this, I've used this A4 craft paper from Mont Mart, and it's 15 GSM. So it was quite a good weight to use for this project. So all I've done with this pocket is you've got a piece that's 6 1/4. No, sorry, it's 6 inches, and then 4 1/8 in length. And so what we're going to do, then we're going to score it on the long side. So this side, we're going to score it 1/2 inch, turn it once, and score 1/2 inch again. Now I will show you something with that as well. Let's get this other piece. Let's make sure it's the right length. So we want it to be 6 inches long, which I think it will be. Yep. And what did I say? 4 1/8. 4 1/8. Yep, that's exactly the right size. So if you're going to be using a decorative paper to do yours, you're going to put the image that you want. So this is going to go sideways. So I've cut this one the wrong way to start off with. But if you have, let me grab another piece and cut it off, and let's get it right this time. So we want it to be 6 inches, which is that, by 4 1/8, which is that. Here we go, pop that away. Take that one out of the way. So now we're going to take our image. Now, if you want your image to be the right way up, you need to score on the long side. You can score 1/2 inch with your image at the top of the page. So there's your 1/2 inch there. Then you're going to turn it once. By turning it once with that at the top, you're going to have, this will be the bottom of your page. I'm going to score that at 1/2 inch. Okay, now you could put your centerfold in, but I don't, because I'm not great with measurements, and I'm also I found this easier. So then I'm just going to fold on my creases. Okay, and you can ink them and all of that. So we'll just go back to this piece now so you can see what I'm doing, because I've already pre-inked it. So now we've got this deal. So we know that half of this is going to be our join, to join them together. And so this will be our front. So what we need to do is on this side, when you look at this, the side that's got 2 folds on it is actually your piece that's going to be the back of your pocket. The side that's got only the 1 fold on it is going to be the front of your pocket. So I'm just going to get a pair of scissors. From where I've bent this, I can see there's a little mark. So I'm just going to cut a V out of that bit there. Take that piece off. And I'm just going to trim this off on the fold line. I've got caught up all of that. That's better. I'm going to turn it around, and we're just going to miter these corners. So I'm going to cut out that corner. I'm just going to turn it around and cut out that corner. So now we have our pockets. So just going to fold these down. Pull this across to make sure that you're getting it right in the right spot. So these are nice and flush. So once you've got to this stage, you can choose whether to have a tab or whether you want a notch in it. So this one I might do a tab. So I've got some of these whale tail tabs that I've done for another project, and I'm just going to use one of these on mine. Sure, I like the front of that. See which one looks okay on this. So you want 4 with notches and 4 with tabs if you want to do it exactly like what I did. When I put the tabs on, I'm going to put 1 in this spot, and I'm going to put 1 on this spot. So I'll put 1 here. Let me find another tab. I haven't got one the same, so I'll just use this one instead. And then so on this project, I'm just going to slip it in the top of the pocket. So you only want to put this on the front side. And so when you get them, you're going to have tabs that'll sit, 1 on this side, 1 on that side. Okay, and we need 4 of those. So that's what you've got to do with that. Now once you've created your eight pockets, these will actually become our pages. So, and I've just glued these down and inked them up, and I haven't even decided on which one's going to be tab and which one's going to be notch. So I will do that right now. So the ones that are going to be notched, we will just notch those. The tabs we'll put on later. So this one's going to be a tab. This one's going to be a notch. So I'm going to grab my 1 inch circle punch. Probably should have done this before I'd put them in, but here we go. There's one with a notch. With the notch. So this one will be This one will be tab. This one will be notch. Notch in now. Notch. This one will be tab. This one will be notch. Notch. So this one will be tab and this one will be notch. At the very end of this video, I'll put up all the measurements and that for you so you can screenshot it so you can have them. Okay, so that's our pockets essentially done. We're not going to put the tabs on at this stage because I don't want to do it just at this stage. We will also need some of these tabs, and these are going to be our joiners. So these joiners, you'll need 10 of. I've done 10 of them, and they are 3 5/8 long and 3/4 of an inch wide. So that's what we're going to use for joiners. You'll need 3 belly bands. These ones are the belly bands. So I've got 3 belly bands to use. I've just got to glue this one together. But let's move on with putting our block together. Essentially, this becomes our text block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 2 pieces, line them up as best as I can. Okay, and I'm going to grab some glue stick for this. And I've also pre-cut some washi tape. So I'm just going to pull a piece of that washi tape off. I'm going to push it through my glue. This is just to give it a little bit more stability. I want them buttered up together. Now I'm not worried that it doesn't go all the way to the top. And so we've got a nice clean flush line. I'm just going to trim this little bit of excess off the bottom. Okay, so that's our first 2 pages. Now we're going to do that with each, well, let's go one step further with this. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our joiners. So these were just some scraps from when I've made the original parts of it. And I'm just going to use some liquid glue on this section. I've actually scored mine in half, but you don't have to. Some of this will get a little bit covered up, that's okay. Bit of glue. I'm just going to line that up. Push them over. Nice. And there's our first 2 together. So we're going to do that for the rest of them. So that's the front one, that's the back one. It's the front one which needs to be down, and this is the back one that needs to go that way. So same step again, I grab a piece of my washi tape that I've pre-cut. Sorry about that, I was just checking to see whether I'd pressed record because I couldn't remember all of a sudden. So I'm just going to trim that little bit off at the top. We'll go next tab. Now you can ink these if you would like to. I've inked mine, but it's a choice. Okay, so there's our next two joined together. Let's just fold them this way. Make sure they're nice and level with each other. Oops. Good. So this one will sit in behind this one, like so. Just wanting to make sure we get those really level with each other. We will join these two later. We're just going to do our next two. Front, back. Okay. Let's grab our once again, smush that down really well. Making sure you get those really level with each other. Okay, that's good. Goes that way. That goes that way. More to do. And then we'll put it into the that way and that way. Then we'll pop it in. We'll start putting our block together in our journal after we join all of these bits together. You could assemble these beside each other, but I found this way was easier. Because trying to get the height right between each one was going to be a little bit harder. So I thought I'd try this way and see how this goes. The tape. Not quite centered on there, but that'll be fine. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, now let's join each one of these together. You go this way. Yep, that's the front. Run it through our glue stick. You don't even have to use the washi tape if you don't want to. The tab should be enough, but I'm just wanting to make sure that this has good adhesion. Okay, let's grab this. Just going to trim that little bit off there. There we go. So now we have some of our pages joined together. It's just making sure that they're nice and even. And press them really well together. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one. Okay, now let's do our next two. Front. I didn't put a notch in this one, did I? That's a notch. Oh yeah, that's right, a notch. So these go this way. So just lining them up together again. Another piece of washi tape. That's better. Okay, another little tab. Okay. So really good smush down, making sure it's adhered nice and okay. So I'm going to turn that over. So now we've got to join both these two together. So I'm going to get another piece of washi tape. Yep, put that at the top. At this one, yep, that's the right way. Okay, so now I'm just going to put my bit of washi tape on. Grab a tab. Okay, that's our text blocks put together. What I'd like to do at this stage is grab a couple more pieces of the sticky tape that we have. And I'd like to cover the back of the spine. So this may only need one. So that's not going to work, but that's okay. What I'm trying to do is when we pop this into our block, I don't want it to stick to the back of the spine. So I just need to find something to put over the back of that. Maybe it might be worth just popping one of these on just to cover that. That's what I might do. Yep, there should be enough there still to do what I need to do. So I'm just going to put some glue on this spine. Grab one of these. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the smaller end of this thing, and I'm just going to run a line up there so it can fold over. That's not going to work either. What to try next? Maybe something more flexible. Give me 2 seconds. I'll see if I can find some material or a bit of lace or ribbon, perhaps, which might work. Got this lovely soft lilac-y type colour. I might use some of this. Get it to the right length. It's going to fray the sides a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just going to grab some fabric glue. I'm going to put it on the fabric, not on the spine. I just need to check to make sure all my pages are going to open okay. Yep. A little bit stuck. Okay, this one. Don't know what's going on with this page. Okay, let's put a little bit of this onto here. I am actually going to put it onto the spine and not the other way around because I think it will be easier. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down each side so that's joined to the actual Okay, so we've got that in there now. I'm not going to worry if that sits above the thing. I'll just trim it down a little bit as we go. So our next step is, and we're going to be using our fabric glue again, is to add some tabs. I'm just going to bend this one back this way. Add some tabs on here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop it into, might be easier to put it down onto that bit of cardstock first. No, we're not, we're going to do it this way. Get this measured up first. Because this will be going onto the fabric. We'll use fabric glue to glue this one down. Just check to make sure you've got your text block facing the right way. Put one half on here. Okay, I'm going to use this glue now, and we're going to, I just wonder whether I've got that over far enough. No, I haven't. Okay, now let's put some glue on this half. Now you can still use fabric glue, if that's what you would like to. Use art glue, you can use whatever glue you like. Excuse me. So now that's adhered to the front cover. Now let's do the one for the back cover. So same again, we're just going to put some all on here. So this is our fabric glue, because we're putting on onto fabric to paper. Let's turn this around. Just want to make sure that I've got that in line with the rest of the spine. Yep, like so. Now let's grab this glue and glue this to the back cover now. Just okay. We've got this little bit at the top here and a little bit at the bottom. So our book is essentially done. Well, until that dries anyway. Might have to put a little bit more glue on that. So that's how it's lifted up. Okay, so now we can look at doing our tabs. So we know we're going to need 4. Do I have my tab puncher out? Yes, I do. Okay, so I'm just going to grab this. In my box of offcuts from this project, I have a heap of bits of scrap. So I'm just going to put this over here to dry. I'm just going to fold that one. Line it up in my tab punch. There's one. Line it up again. There's 2. 3. Turn this one off. And 4. So there are 4 tabs. Let's move all this stuff out of the way. Okay, so we need to ink these. So the inking that I've been using in this project has been ground espresso. I just wanted something that was a little bit dark because the colours are so pastel-y in this. And I wanted that bit of grunginess. Seeing as how it's supposed to be dark and mysterious with all the fairies and the mushrooms. So I'll just ink these 4 up. And look, you can decorate this however you like. I do have a couple more things to put into this journal for you before we call it a morning. So I have 3 what they call coin envelopes that I've created, and I'll give you all the measurements for those as well. And we also have 3 belly bands and 4 pockets I think I have as well. So, and you can choose to put those things wherever you like in your journal, but I'll show you the measurements for them. With the pockets, you may need to trim them up a little bit, and that's okay. There's no big loss about that. Okay, so that's inked. Let's put our tabs on now. This should be nicely adhered together. So here's our little book. Four, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so we know that the first tab is going to go onto the first page. Do I want this one? And we're only going to put it on one side, so we don't want to put it on both sides, otherwise it'll close our pocket. Do I like that side or do I like this side? I think I like this side better. Okay. So I'm just going to put some glue on. Making sure I'm slipping this piece into the pocket itself. Down there, and then close over the tab. That's our first one done. So this is a notch one, so this one becomes a tab page. Grab another one. Oh, maybe that one was a bit of pink on it. Oh, that one might work. So once again, glue. try and show you this. So I'm snipping it inside the page. I want this one on this end. Okay. So by having them go one end, one the other end, we'll get this nice effect where, oops, okay, pulled that too high. Get in there. There we go. Okay, that's better. I've just got to watch the heights when I put them in. Okay, so that's that one done. Notch. We know this one's going to be a tab page as well. So we're just going to get our pre-ink tabs. If you wanted to, you could, you don't have to have this silo tab. You can do whatever silo tab that you like. So this one's going to go on this end. Okay, so that one's done. Yep. And now we're on to our last one, which is this one here. Exact same, only it's coming towards your right-hand side again. Put that in there. And now we have our little mini journal. Let's start putting a few bits into it. So we need 3 coin envelopes. I've already pre-done mine, but I thought I would go through how I made it. So our coin envelopes measure 4 1/8 by 3 3/4. Sorry, 4 3/4, and you'll need 3 of them. So you'll need 3 measurements of that. Now you're going to, this one is 7, 8, no, this one. Just checking my measurements for a moment. 1 1/8 score short side. So we're going to score on the short side at 1 1/8 and 3 inches, which is here. Now flip it back on the long side, and we're going to score at 7/8 of an inch, which is this one, and again at 4 inches, which is this one. And so I think this up so you can see exactly what I'm going to do. So we're going to cut out the corners, and I'd like to sort of miter them at the same time. So I'm just going to cut, I want to cut that whole piece out like so, and cut along there. Same with this one. And there we go, and we're going to cut this piece off. Okay, I'm going to do the same here, so we're going to miter in and just cut that whole corner piece out. Same with this one, miter again, cut the whole corner piece out. Now we can cut off these bottom tabs just on each side, like so. And effectively we have our coin envelope. Now I'm going to miter these side corners as well. So that's just taking my scissors and putting it at an angle and cutting up to that top point. Same on this end. Doesn't have to be much, but I just find it folds better when you do it like that. Yep. And this again. so that's done that. That one will fold up. And that one's not mited at the right angle, so I'm just going to tidy that up a bit. That's better. Going with this one. This one needs to come in a bit more. Okay, so there's our coin envelope. So I've got some that are pre-done. So I'll put that one aside and we'll grab these. So I've got 3 little envelopes. I've glued all 3 of them and I've inked all 3. Oh, no, I haven't glued this one. This one sort of has the measurements on it as well. Okay, so I'm just going to take these. I'm just going to glue these down together. So these ones were done. These ones are a little bit thicker because I've actually used some of that craft paper that I showed you earlier, and also a piece of this paper. You don't really need to use the craft paper. You can just use this paper. I like the little bit of sturdiness that it gave it. But it will add bulk to your project. So that's something to keep in mind. So it's going to put a bit of glue down. Same with this one here. Close that up. Now, if you wanted to, you could round these corners by all means. You go right ahead and do that. That's perfectly okay. Now, if you wanted to, you could actually decorate these up a little bit more. Maybe put a, what have I got over here? You know, maybe you could put some little bits on it. I'm not going to do decorating in this in particular one. I know you are all quite capable of decorating something in a manner that you enjoy. But yeah, so now we're going to need, so we'll put those aside and let that dry. Now we're going to grab hold of I should have 3 belly bands over here somewhere. Yep, here we go. So I've got 3 belly bands, same again. I've actually backed them onto that craft paper and then cut out the strips. So these belly bands are 3/4 of an inch wide by 3 3/8 of an inch, and there's 3 of them. So I'm just going to put some glue on this one. As you can see, I've inked all of these up already. Okay, pop this on. Smush it till you get it right. There we go. So there's our 3 belly bands, our 3 envelopes, and the next one we want is, I've got some pockets here. So these are little pockets. So I've made up 3 of them already and I've inked them. I have inked this one, but I haven't made it up just yet. So our little pockets are, you'll need 4 of them, and they are 4 3/4 long by, no, hold on a minute. No, that's the wrong one, sorry. Didn't put that one on here. Okay. Pocket pages, tab joiners. Let me have a look at the rest of my paperwork I've got here. This one. Yeah, this one. So you'll need 4 pockets. You've got one, and they measure 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/4 inches high by 2 3/4 long. I'm not sure how that length is going to go, but I'm happy to trim them down if I need to. So what I did to make sure all of my notches were in the right spot is I matched up my pieces. I'll do it this way, it might be easier to see for you guys. So I've matched up my pieces. This one's a little taller than the others, but that's okay. I'm going to grab my 1 inch. I'm just going to trim that off. Okay. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to bring in my hole punch, and I'm just going to pop that off. That little edge needs a little bit more off it. It's not too bad. And then we have our 4 little pockets. So I'm just going to add a little bit more ink onto this one now that I've trimmed it. Okay, there's a bit of ink on there. Now, our book should be doing pretty well by now. Beautiful. This one needs a little bit of help. It's got a lifting just there, so I'm just going to put a little bit more glue in there so it stays down. So we've got a tab on this pocket. Now, you can cut another piece to go on the inside and the back sides, which I think I will do. I'll do that shortly, but let's do that now. So I want them to be the same size as our decorative pieces, and our decorative pieces were measured at 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and we're going to need 2 of them. So let's grab our scoreboard. Sorry, not our scoreboard, but our trimmer. I'm going to decide on which ones I want. Maybe these 2. Okay, I'm going to have some purple mushrooms this time. So we want 2.5 inch size. That's 2. Yep. So we want 2.5 inches by 3 inches. Oh, sorry, 3.5 inches. That's one piece. Once again, we want 2.5 inches. This one by 3.5 inches. And pop these over into our little scrap bucket. So we're just going to ink around the edges of these ones. I thought that was wrong. I've done that one. I'll have to cut another one. Sorry about that. I just didn't concentrate when I was cutting that one. Haven't done it quite right. It's a bit narrow. Is it this one? No, this one's 2.5. Okay, then just let me grab one more and I'll cut up one more. This one will do. Two and a half by 3.5. Just ink around the edges of this one as well. Okay, that's done. Decide on which one's going to go in on our front cover. I think I might like the contrast of this one. I prefer this one. Yeah, no, this one. Okay, so let's put some glue on the back of these. And this will just help make your journal very sturdy as well. Making sure I get glue in those corners and along those edges. one down. Let's do our back cover. Yep. Okay, there's our back cover done. Now let's put in our pockets and belly bands. Now, if you wanted to, you could put a pocket on this front cover, which I may do. It does seem to fit better on this front cover. I think I'm going to put one there. I'm just going to put a couple of paper clips on those, just to, not paper clips, bulldog clips, just to hold that in place. I think I'm going to put one on the back page as well, out of our 4 little pockets. I quite like the way that looks. Let's see what other ones we've got here. Get this one I like. The back page. Yep, so I'm going to pop that one in. And ultimately, you can change these pockets to whatever size that you like to work with and whatever size journal you make from this, because all of the measurements can be adjusted to make bigger and smaller ones. I don't know whether I'd go much smaller than this one, although I have done a couple of smaller ones. Okay, so that's those 2 pockets in. Now, let's go with that. So these ones, when you put them on the inside, will have to be trimmed down a little bit. A little bit off this end as well. Okay, that's great. I'm just going to re-ink those 2 ends that I just chopped off to make it fit. A little bit of blue on 3 sides. Okay. There we go. Maybe one on this page as well. And it too will have to have a bit of a trim. Yep, that fits in there nicely. Just want to take just a smidge more off this end. Okay, that's our 4 pockets in. Take this one off. Now let's look at our belly band. So I know I'm going to want a belly band on this page. the belly band on this page. I think this one. Yeah. Okay. A couple more clips. Just to hold them in place until we're I might have a belly band on this page as well. Just trying to evenly distribute them throughout the journal. Do I have any more of those clips on my desk at the moment? These front ones could probably come off now. I'll put them onto this one here. Okay. Just leave that one sit for a few minutes. Now in your belly bands, that's what our little coin envelopes were to go into. A little tight on that one, but that's all right, it's going to work. And now our third one. No. It wasn't quite glued in properly, but you see what I'm getting at there. And so you've got our little coin envelopes in there. Like I said, you can decorate all of this. You've got pockets. Now the next thing that I do have is these journaling cards. So these measure, so the decorative piece, if you're going to put it onto a backing paper, is 3 3/8 by 2 3/8. And the journaling card is 2 3/4 by, no, it's actually going to be the same, I think. Yeah. No, these are exactly the same. 3 3/8 by 2 3/8. And then we're just going to glue them onto our piece of card. Because this has a white backing on these, you don't need to really put them onto the craft card. I just like the stability of it. Just line them all up. Yep, beautiful. And that one's already inked as well. Now, I've made 8 of these. You can make as many as you like. You could make different sizes, different shapes, and I probably would. So you've got your pockets here that these could fit into. Or, me personally, I would put these journaling cards up in our top pockets. So I'm going to put one there, one in this one in this one in this one, the back one. Let's put this one in, this one here then. Okay. So now you've got some journaling tags to go inside of your little pockets, page pockets. You can add lots of other things to this. This is quite a sturdy little journal now that we've added those decorative pieces to it. It's not too bulky. Now, the other thing that I have also made is this little tag, and I haven't given you any measurements for this. So, and you can make it whatever size you want it to be. So this one is just over 2.5 inches long and just a 1 1/8 of an inch wide. Now I've punched a hole, mitered the corners. Now to get this measurement for the front, so you know that this is going to fit. So what I've done, so I plan on putting this on the back, and then to get this measurement right, all I've done is come over to the spine and creased it and then inked it so that I know that this closure will work right onto here and will work quite well. So now you've got a choice. So let's put this closure on first. So that's going to go in there. So let me get a bit of glue. You can ink or you don't have to ink, totally your choice and what your preference is. So I'm just going to grab this piece and sort of center it. And let that sit there. It's on the back. Now, to make our closure actually close, I'm going to grab, I've just got some of this crochet thread here at the moment on my desk, so that's what I'm going to use. And I want a fairly long piece. That looks about right. I've got some little charms, some that have been made for me, some that were that I've made as well. I think that one. And I still may add more things to that little charm yet, I'm not sure at this stage. That glue should have had enough time to set up a bit better now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my two ends, poke them through the hole, then bring them back through there to make a slip knot. And to close this baby off, and I'm just going to tie this onto I'll probably find something else to put on the end of this as well, but from here, just going to tie this on. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that through there. And that's our journal complete. So like I said, you can go ahead and by all means decorate this a lot further. I just found that if I was going to decorate this, I would want to use probably more contrasting colours so that, yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about putting any more of these papers that I've used for the journal actually as a here we go, there's our third piece in there. Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about using more of these decorative papers because I think it will blend too much. That's why I said to you, so on here, on these little envelopes, I'd probably create something else to go on the front and maybe put some, I don't know, maybe some butterflies. whatever on the belly bands, just to decorate them up a bit. You could do the same on different pages depending on how you're going to use this. So you could actually decorate these up. You've got plenty of journaling cards. You will need to make something to go into these little pockets that we've created. I haven't done that yet. Because this is purely just a process video on how I made this little journal that a few people have asked me for. So totally your call. I hope you've enjoyed this video and I hope it's answered all your questions. If you are new to my channel, I'd love it if you could like, subscribe. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the description, in the box down below. I will try and find a link for this in particular paper that I used for this project. I do know it was one from Temu, so I'm not sure whether they have this in particular one still available. But all in all, this was a pretty fun project. Yeah, have a great day. Bye.